Picture a man. He's not influenced by the whims of others, unaffected by chaos. He's a rock in the surf, steady and unmovable. This is the Stoic man. He faces life's challenges with a calm mind and a resolute heart. He knows that virtue is the sole good and that external factors, the opinions of others, wealth, even relationships, are ultimately fleeting and unimportant. He finds joy in self-improvement, in becoming a little bit better each day. He understands that life is a journey, not a destination, and he walks this path with courage, wisdom, and a deep sense of inner peace. This is the path of the Stoic. It's not about suppressing emotions, but mastering them. It's about taking responsibility for your own thoughts and actions. This is where true freedom lies. The Stoic ideal isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about cultivating a life of virtue, wisdom, and resilience. It's about understanding that true strength lies in controlling your reactions, not in controlling others. It's about living in harmony with nature, accepting what is, and focusing on what you can control. The Stoics believed that anyone, regardless of their background, could live a virtuous life. They believed that true happiness comes from within, from living a life of purpose and meaning. At the heart of Stoicism lie four core values: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These values are interconnected, each one supporting and strengthening the others. Wisdom is about seeing the world as it truly is, without distortion or illusion. Justice is about treating others with fairness and respect, recognizing their inherent dignity as human beings. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Temperance is about moderation and self-control. By cultivating these four virtues, the Stoics believed, we could live lives of true meaning and purpose. These virtues weren't just abstract ideals, they were practical tools for daily living. They provided a framework for making decisions, navigating relationships, and dealing with the inevitable challenges of life. In the following sections, we'll explore how these core values can be applied to the specific challenge of dealing with narcissistic behavior. The ancient Greeks told tales of beautiful sirens, their enchanting voices luring sailors to shipwreck on jagged rocks. Narcissistic behavior, in many ways, shares a similar allure. It often presents itself in dazzling packaging, charm, beauty, charisma, captivating those within its orbit. But beneath this alluring facade lies a treacherous reality. The narcissist seeks to fulfill their own needs for validation and admiration, often at the expense of others. They may engage in manipulative tactics, playing the victim, gaslighting, or employing a constant need for attention to maintain control and feed their insatiable ego. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial for self-protection. While you can't control the narcissist's actions, you can control your response. Arm yourself with knowledge and tools to handle these encounters with wisdom and grace. Recognizing narcissistic traits. Imagine you're walking through a forest and you spot a patch of poisonous berries. Do you berate the berries for being poisonous? No, you simply acknowledge their nature and avoid them. Recognizing narcissistic traits is similar. It's about awareness, not judgment. It's about arming yourself with the knowledge to protect your well-being. Here are some signs to watch out for. A grandiose sense of self-importance. Narcissists often have an inflated view of themselves, believing they are superior to others and deserving of special treatment. They may exaggerate their achievements or talents, seeking constant praise and admiration. A lack of empathy. Narcissists often struggle to understand or acknowledge the feelings of others. They may be dismissive, insensitive, or even cruel in their interactions, a constant need for attention. The narcissist thrives on being the center of attention. Detachment and acceptance. The Stoics emphasized the importance of detachment, not detachment from life itself, but from the things we cannot control, the opinions of others, external events, and yes, even the behavior of others. When you encounter narcissistic behavior, it's easy to get caught up in the drama, to take their actions personally. By practicing detachment, you choose not to engage with their ego-driven games. You understand that their behavior is not about you, it's about them. This doesn't mean you condone their actions or become a doormat. It means you choose to protect your own peace of mind by refusing to let their negativity control your emotions. Accept that you cannot change another person. Accept that their behavior is their burden to bear, not yours. Everything changes. This fundamental truth, embraced by the Stoics, is a powerful antidote to the pain and frustration narcissistic behavior can inflict. The narcissist, trapped in their own ego, often seeks to control their external world to maintain a sense of self-worth. They may latch onto relationships, possessions, or status symbols, believing these things define their value. But you, armed with Stoic wisdom, understand a deeper truth. True fulfillment comes from within. The Stoic recognizes the impermanence of all things. Relationships change. Circumstances change. The narcissist's charm, like everything else, will eventually fade. By shifting your perspective to embrace this impermanence, you free yourself from the need to control outcomes. Picture a fortress, its walls towering high, impervious to the assaults of any enemy. This, the Stoics believed, is what we should strive to build within ourselves. A fortress of indifference. Not indifference to life itself, but to the things that have no real power over us. The narcissist, for all their bluster and manipulation, cannot penetrate this fortress. Their barbs of criticism, their attempts to control and demean, fall harmlessly against these impenetrable walls. How do we build this fortress? Through the Stoic practice of indifference. This doesn't mean becoming cold or unfeeling. It means recognizing that external events in themselves have no power over our inner state. The narcissist's words, their actions are but externals. Life is a river constantly flowing, never still. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. They knew that resistance to the natural order of things only brought frustration and suffering. They taught the art of acquiescence, accepting what is, rather than railing against it. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to a life of passivity. It means recognizing that there are things we can control and things we cannot. The narcissist, in their relentless pursuit of ego gratification, often embodies resistance. You, however, can choose a different path. You can choose to accept the narcissist for who they are without condoning their behavior. Imagine a circle. Within this circle lies everything you can control: your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. Outside the circle lies everything else: the opinions of others, external events, the behavior of others. This is the Stoic dichotomy of control. Many people, lost in their own ego, often try to exert control over things outside their circle. They seek validation from others, manipulate situations to their advantage, and lash out when things don't go their way. But you, armed with Stoic wisdom, understand the futility of this approach. You know that true peace comes from focusing on what you can control. Reframing your narrative. Imagine looking through a telescope at a distant star. From our limited perspective, it might appear as a tiny, insignificant speck. But with the right tools, we can shift our perspective, zooming in to reveal its true nature. A brilliant, fiery giant, a force of unimaginable power. The Stoics understood the power of perspective. They knew that our perception of events often colors our experience more than the events themselves. When dealing with narcissistic behavior, it's easy to get caught in their web of negativity, to internalize their criticisms and manipulations. But what if we could shift our perspective? What if we could see the narcissist not as a tormentor, but as a deeply insecure individual, trapped in their own self-created prison of ego? This is not about excusing their behavior, it's about reclaiming our own narrative, understanding that we have the power to define our own story. The discipline of desire, aligning with virtue. The Stoics believed that true happiness didn't lie in the pursuit of pleasure or the avoidance of pain, but in living a life of virtue. They taught the importance of aligning our desires with what is truly valuable: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. The narcissist, often driven by a deep-seated sense of lack, seeks fulfillment in external validation, material possessions, or the control of others. Their desires, often insatiable, lead them down a path of perpetual dissatisfaction. You, however, can choose a different path. You can choose to cultivate desires that are in harmony with virtue. You can seek fulfillment in personal growth, in meaningful connections, in contributing to something larger than yourself. A beacon in the darkness. Imagine a lighthouse standing tall amidst a raging storm. Its beam cuts through the darkness, a beacon of hope for sailors lost at sea. This is the high-value man. He doesn't seek validation from the storms around him. He doesn't dim his light to appease those who are threatened by its brilliance. He stands firm, grounded in his values, a source of strength and inspiration. True value comes from within, not external validation. It's about character quality, not impressing others. He develops virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance, becoming a man of substance, depth, and integrity. He doesn't chase fleeting pleasures or control others. True power lies in self-mastery. He is a magnet for those seeking more than superficiality. His value is self-evident, no need for games or manipulation, a rare commodity in a world obsessed with appearances, a man of substance in a sea of shadows. The magnetism of self-mastery, becoming a force of nature. Nature doesn't beg, a lion doesn't plead with its prey, a mountain doesn't apologize for its majesty. They simply are. This is the power of self-mastery. The high-value man understands that true strength lies not in forcing others to bend to his will, but in mastering himself. He cultivates his mind, body, and spirit, becoming a force of nature in his own right. He doesn't waste his energy chasing after those who aren't interested or trying to change those who are unwilling. He invests his energy in becoming the best version of himself, knowing that this is the most attractive and magnetic force there is. He is confident, not arrogant. He is assertive, not aggressive. He knows his worth, not because others tell him so, but because he has built himself from the ground up, brick by stoic brick. He is comfortable in his own skin, radiating an aura of quiet strength and self-assurance. He doesn't need to prove himself to anyone because his actions speak louder than words. This self-mastery is not about becoming perfect. It's about the continual pursuit of self-improvement, of aligning his actions with his values. The art of strategic withdrawal, disengaging with grace. In chess, sometimes the most powerful move is to withdraw a piece, to create space for a more strategic attack. The Stoic man understands this principle. He knows when to engage and when to disengage, when to pursue and when to withdraw. He recognizes that not all battles are worth fighting, that sometimes the wisest course of action is to walk away. Investing in what matters. The Stoics often use the metaphor of building a kingdom to describe self-improvement. The high-value man is the architect of his own destiny. He doesn't waste time on fleeting pleasures. He invests in building something meaningful. He focuses on his purpose and values. He cultivates meaningful relationships. He invests in his health and personal development. He creates a life filled with purpose and meaning. This kingdom is not built overnight. It takes time, effort, and dedication. But the high-value man knows this is a worthwhile investment. By focusing on what matters, he creates a life of fulfillment. He becomes a beacon of light, drawing others through the magnetism of his character. The unwavering wall, establishing firm boundaries. Imagine a king surveying his land. He sees vast plains, towering mountains and winding rivers. His kingdom has no borders. It is vulnerable to invaders. The king knows what he must do. He must build a wall to protect his realm. The high-value man understands this principle. He establishes firm boundaries in his interactions, especially when dealing with narcissistic behavior. He sets clear limits. He doesn't allow himself to be manipulated. His time and energy are precious resources. He can still be compassionate without compromising his own well-being. He communicates his boundaries clearly. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's a way of honoring his own worth. The dignity of self-worth. You define your value. The Stoics believed that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external validation. The high-value man embodies this principle. He knows that his worth is not determined by the opinions of others, by the number of women he dates, or by the material possessions he accumulates. His self-worth is inherent, unchanging, and independent of external circumstances. He doesn't need others to tell him he is worthy. He knows it in his core. This unshakable sense of self-worth allows him to navigate the world with confidence and resilience. He doesn't seek validation from others because he has already found it within himself. He is not swayed by the narcissist's attempts to diminish him, belittle his accomplishments, or question his value. He sees these tactics for what they are, desperate attempts to compensate for their own lack of self-worth. He understands that the narcissist's behavior is a reflection of their own insecurities, not his own. He refuses to internalize their negativity or allow it to define him. He chooses to define himself by his values, his actions, and his unwavering commitment to living a life of integrity and purpose. True strength in Stoicism is often misunderstood as weakness. Real strength is found in self-control, mastering one's emotions, and responding to adversity with wisdom. Walking away from a toxic situation demonstrates true strength. It takes immense courage to resist retaliation and maintain composure. True strength is reflected in kindness and inner resilience. The Stoic triumph, finding freedom from within. We've journeyed together, exploring the treacherous landscape of narcissism. Remember the fortress within, its walls built not of stone and mortar, but of reason, self-control, and acceptance. This fortress, my friend, is your refuge, your sanctuary from the storms of external chaos. The narcissist cannot touch the man who has built this inner citadel. And in this realization, he finds freedom. Freedom from the expectation of others. This is the Stoic triumph. To find liberation not in changing the world, but in mastering oneself. Rise above, embracing your Stoic journey. This is not a destination, but a journey. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when the siren song of the narcissist's charm tempts you to stray from your path. But remember the lighthouse, its beam cutting through the darkness, guiding you back to your center. That lighthouse is within you. Cultivate your inner strength. Practice the Stoic disciplines of self-control, acceptance, and perspective. Remember the dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can influence and release the need to control what you cannot. Build your kingdom brick by Stoic brick. Invest in your growth. Seek wisdom, cultivate virtue, live a life of purpose and meaning. The world needs more high-value men, men who lead with integrity, who are defined by their character, not their conquests, men who understand that true strength lies not in dominance, but in self-mastery. Go forth, my friend, and embody these principles. Rise above the fray. Become the best version of yourself. The world is waiting.